Well, hello there, and thank you for joining me for today's 15-minute franchisee interview. My name is Jenna Gonzer. I am the Director of Franchise Development here with Right at Home, and very excited to talk to you today and hear more about the day in the life of a franchise owner. So, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. When I received the email, I felt honored. I'm like, oh, they picked me to speak. Yay, I must be pretty, it must be interesting or doing something right. But I'm excited to talk about it. I think people need to hear and know what our lives are like.
Yes, absolutely. So, why don't we get started and go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're located, the number of territories you own, and when you became a right at home owner.
Okay, my name is Katung Aduwak. I like to make sure I let people know what Katung means. Katung means the reason why people come together. So for everything that
Mhm.
I do, it seems like my name follows me, and I've fallen in the right path with Right at Home because my job is bringing people together. So I own a territory, just a single territory, along with my partner Tanya Bridges in Tukwila, Washington, but we consider it the Greater South Seattle area, which covers about 16 zip codes. Um, we became owners in April of 2024, but our doors did not open fully to start taking clients and hiring caregivers till the December of the same year, 2024. So I would say we've been actively doing business and providing care for about a year and maybe 6 or 7 months now. It's been quite the journey.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that. And what was your background before you became a right at home owner?
Woo, where should I start? I have a pretty interesting background. So I'll start from just before Right at Home and then walk you back a little bit if we have the time. I was a project manager, but a project manager who doesn't do linear projections. I was a Scrum Master.
Okay.
Scrum Master is a project manager who sits with a client and then takes a product meeting and then comes back with the product every 2 weeks, 2 week reiterations, so that the client is able to say, yes, I like this, or tweak that. And then we carry the client all the way through the process to the end versus a linear project manager who comes back after 6 months and the product might be obsolete or client needs might have changed. That's what I
Mm,
did prior. But before then, I was into entertainment. I worked with Viacom. I was senior
mhm.
creative director and channel manager for MTV and a few of the Viacom stable channels like VH1, BET, Nickelodeon. I was in charge of the African feed. And before then, I was a reality TV star who won Big Brother Nigeria many, many years ago. So you can see why I said, where do I start? But all of this has happened to bring me to this point where
Mhm.
I'm an owner with my partner of Right at Home franchise.
I love it. And why did you choose right at home, Katum?
Um, I had an accident over just about 20 something years ago
Mhm.
that rendered me paralyzed in a coma, and
Mm,
I had to learn how to walk again, switch hands from left to right. It was pretty ghastly, two brain surgeries, and even when my doctors had said, "Look, you might end up in a wheelchair," my caregivers did not give up on me. They were the ones who helped me work my way back into full
mm,
functionality. And
mm,
I always knew that I was going to pay this forward. So when I was reintegrated into society, I was able to work, save, and then me and my partner came together. My partner also liked Right at Home because she had aged parents who were living far away. And one time her mother fell from a ladder while she was in the kitchen, and her
mm,
father was in the room next door and couldn't hear her because he didn't have his hearing aids on. So we needed to have eyes on them. And then so she was able to move her parents this way. So when we were looking for a franchise or a business to start, it resonated for us on
mm.
different fronts. For me, the personal
Absolutely.
experience,
Hmm.
my accident, and for her, the care that she wanted to provide for her parents. So right at home just seemed like something that spoke to us. It spoke to us personally, and
Hmm.
we figured if we're going to make a living, let's make a living doing something that we love, something that we can relate to, and something that we can use to actually do more for people that we care about in our community.
I love that. Well, thank you for that. And we are so thankful that all is okay with you. And
Oh, yes.
like you said, really having the impact of the benefits of those caregivers to help you
Yes.
during your time of need. So thank you for sharing that. And
Thank you.
so let's talk a little bit about the day in the life. So why don't you walk us through what a typical day looks like for you as an owner?
Okay, so usually I would say if you are looking to do a 9 to 5 job in this as an owner, I think you should just forget about it and go and find something else.
Hmm.
I'm going to give you what I would call a mini masterclass in how you live in a controlled chaos and high stakes puzzle
Hmm.
solving situation, because that's what it is. It is controlled chaos, it's high stakes, and it's a lot of puzzle solving. So when I wake up in the morning, I typically would probably even before my coffee, I open my computer and I look at my dashboard.
Hmm.
So what am I looking at? I'm looking at the schedule. Schedule is where I usually go to first to see who has called out, who is not going to be able to show up, or what is happening with a client. I just want to make sure I know where every caregiver, where every client is, and I can
Hmm.
find that out on the scheduling board. And then I speak to my care coordinator who is already playing chess, trying to fill out any call outs that we have. We have to look at this first because that is the core of the business. Who is
Hmm.
available, who is where, and what have not. And then when we're done balancing the board, we ensure that we have provided premium coverage to all our clients and make sure that all caregivers are also taken care of. Now, after that morning chaos has come down, we now move to what I would refer to as the midday pivot, which
Hmm.
go from things like payroll, billing, looking at our financials, making sure that our billing models and everything is matching so that we are still able to make our margins. Now, there are many, many ways to look at this. You can either choose to, I go to Wells Sky sometimes to look at the owner's portal to see all the reports, or which is actually one of my favorite places to go to because it gives me
Hmm.
a real time view of where we are as a business. And then another thing is after we've done all the caregiving, all the figures, all the scheduling, then we now start to do the human management, the element. Because one thing that I've established within our business is to keep in touch with our caregivers as much as possible and not just call them about shifts, but
Hmm.
calling them about how are you? Is everything okay? You mentioned last week that you were taking your daughter somewhere. How did that work out?
Hmm.
Without that human and relationship management, you don't have a business. And then we do that with our clients as well. We don't wait till it's only the 30-day or 60-day or 90-day follow-ups. We call
Hmm.
our clients. We show up on their birthdays with a cake and on something. So we want to make sure that we see everything that is happening with our clients. And how do we do that? It's almost impossible to manage
Hmm.
just from your head. When you go and meet a client, make sure you take notes about them. Make sure you take notes about things that they like, things that they do not like. And then you come and put it in your database so that everybody, even if it's not you who is going to handle them next time, they have a background, they have a backstory into how to go into the next conversation. So
Hmm.
some of these days go smoother and some don't. There are days when we're pulling our hair out. As you can see, I have none left because there's maybe 4 or 5 call outs at the same time, and
Hmm.
then our 2 or 3 on-call people are already feeling that what happens to the rest. So sometimes we have to fold up our own sleeves and go into the field. That is why I advise almost every owner to go and take the HCA or CNA training. Go and do the 75 hours.
Hmm.
In the early days, you might have a baptism of fire like I did. You
Hmm.
never know. So these are the kind of days. And then there are days when sometimes there's marketing and sales where I have to leave the office and go and knock on doors, to try to build into our referral sources. These are people who will not trust you immediately, but you have to keep on going. You will be frustrated at times. You will just want to just throw in the towel, but you
Hmm.
keep on going. Like recently, I just got a referral from a client, a referral source that had been knocking on the doors for a whole year and a month with no
Hmm.
response till just last week. I got my first referral. So one day can actually have all of these things that I've mentioned. And I tell you for a fact that 1/3 of my time here, my days have actually had all those things together. So 9 to 5 really will not cover that. But
Hmm.
initially, you want to be able to do that, know every facet of your business so that when you're hiring people, you know the kind of people that you want to hire to be able to come and fill those slots so you can gain a life-work balance at the end of the day.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And it really sounds like a majority of the day is built on those relationships, whether it's your staff, whether it's your clients, or the relationships that you're building in the
Absolutely.
community. And,
Absolutely.
it also sounds like the great part about that is you have that real-time dashboard and your Well Sky system to help you keep on track of all those things. So,
Yes.
um, wonderful. Thank you. And, while we're talking about the support structure, when you think of all the pieces Right at Home does support in their tools or resources that are available to you, which part have you found to be the most valuable?
I think the part that I found to be the most valuable for right at home. It's hard. It's hard because there's so many. I'm looking at the pillars that have been able to support me, and it's hard to
Hmm.
just pick one. Okay,
Hmm.
but if it's okay, I'll probably give you two or three. I'll try and run through them real quick, but I'll start with maybe what's the most important. I think one of the most important is the investment in leadership and mentorship. The fact that I can pick up my phone at any point in time and call another owner, or call somebody within the franchise, or call my coach, and
Hmm.
then they answer, they have an answer. And usually, when they don't have an answer, people are not so pig-headed here where they'll say they want to throw something at you that is not true. They'll say, I'll
Hmm.
come back to you. Sometimes, I mean, we have the hub, we have all this big repository of information, but sometimes it
Hmm.
can get a little confusing and daunting. And you
Hmm.
want somebody to just tell you, you know what, this is where you should go, this is what you should do. One of the strongest things that I appreciate about Right at Home is that support structure, that comes from other owners, comes from staff and members of the Wells Right at Home team, and then
Hmm.
also coaching. That is one of the strongest things. Another thing that I've seen that Right at Home has done is they've done such a good job in positioning themselves, the market positioning on authority, such that when you walk into a place, yes,
Hmm.
the name recognition alone, first of all, does half of your job for you. And
Hmm.
if you are able to know what you are talking about based on the information and training you've been given, then you
Hmm.
will live up to that market positioning, and then things kind of move a little faster for you.
Hmm.
Another thing that I've seen that works within Right at Home is the operational sandbox. It is such a good information. The compliance, the training, the software. It's glaring that there's a lot of investment that's gone into it. Let me give you an example. I was talking to an owner who has been in the business for about 16, 17 years. So when
Hmm.
I was doing my due diligence, she said, "And one thing I'll tell you is that things have changed so much, so rapidly, it's even hard for me to catch up." She said, "I've
Hmm.
had to hire a few younger people who understand technology to help me understand this business on a more granular level."
Hmm.
And so since I've been here for 2 years, the things that have been upgraded are so much sometimes I won't say it's overwhelming, but I'll tell you one thing, you have to be on your toes so that you can stay
Hmm.
sharp, so that you can stay compliant, and then so you can stay consistent and ahead or at least at par with your competition, because it's a very competitive state that we live in. And
Hmm.
then finally, the freedom to innovate.
Hmm.
Right at Home would give you guardrails, give you guidelines, and tell you how to position. When it comes to payments like private pay, VA, long-term care insurance, they give you those guardrails, but then they let you go and work with what suits you. As far as you stay within the guardrails, nobody's going to come and try to micromanage you and say you have to do this, do this, do that. There's a freedom to operate, freedom to express, and freedom to
Hmm.
create a model that suits you. I think I've not seen this anywhere else, and I have friends who own other franchises. So I think we are
Hmm.
the envy of the town, and I don't just say this lightly. I take it very, very seriously because these things are things that I can relate to.
Mm. Wonderful advice and support is support, I think is what I heard from you.
Yeah,
You're definitely in business for yourself, but never by yourself based on all the different ways that Right at Home can support you in your business. And,
yeah,
I appreciate you sharing that because, it's one thing to get the tools, but it's another thing to implement everything. And it sounds like you're really serious about, the information that you're getting to be able to be successful in your business.
yeah.
And as I mentioned early on, there are candidates currently looking at Right at Home for ownership. So, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to that individual?
Huh. I'm gonna give this piece of advice. It's going to be as unconventional as possible. I'm going to speak about it how it related to me.
Mm-hmm.
I would say don't try to be a lone wolf because that has been me most of my life. I have a God complex where I feel I can solve everybody's problem. I don't need anybody. And I also brought that into this
Yeah.
big mistake. However, I did learn a lot from doing it, because you have to learn how to be a scheduler, a
Mm-hmm.
salesperson, an inbound salesperson, an outbound salesperson, a care coordinator, even a caregiver. You cannot do all these things by yourselves. As in, if the reason you are doing it is try to save money, that's penny wise, pound foolish. I learned the very, very hard way. I did it for two reasons. One, I thought, well, I can do these things. And then secondly, I wanted to see if I can understand every facet of the business by experiential methods that I had so that when I'm hiring somebody, I will know the kind of person to hire. But do not be a lone wolf when it comes to within your own business and when it comes to trying to reach out to other people that can help you.
Mm-hmm.
Find talent, identify talent. You might not get the right one the first time, but go again. You cannot do it on your own. My first year was very tough because I did most of the things on my own, but even though we still were able to record some kind of success, it could have been bigger and it could have been better. And now in our second year, I've been able to expand the team, I've been able to grow it, and you will not believe how in the last 2 to 3 months, how things are beginning to change. We are beginning to set
Mm-hmm.
ourselves up for success and automation. The more people you have that know what needs to be done, you know, everything doesn't have to rest on you. There are fresh ideas. You are able to challenge each other versus just hiring
Mm-hmm.
yes men or whatever that is. And then when you reach a block, reach out to other people who have been in the business for a while. Everybody represents the same brand, so nobody's your competition. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
wants to see the brand succeed. So do not be a lone wolf. Make sure you identify your strengths and then hire people who can do the things that you cannot do. So you focus on what you can do. It's a mistake that I made and I paid dearly for it. But you know what? It wasn't so bad that I was underwater. I was able to come back, realize, and then move forward with the right steps to try to expand and scale up this business to where I think it should go.
Nice. All right. So take advantage of all those support tools
All
that
those
we give
support tools.
you.
You see, it keeps coming back to support. So it keeps
Yes.
coming back to support.
Yes, be open to being coached and getting the guidance you need to be successful. I love it. And,
Yeah.
congrats to you for recognizing that. And it sounds like you've really turned that around. And I'd love for you to just maybe share a feel-good moment recently, that made you really feel good and made you feel like you made an impact.
Um, Within this business, there are many different things that just make you want to smile, that just pop up, that bring color to life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh, okay, I would say from a business standpoint, the fact that we were able to um, surpass what our first year projection was by about 60 or 70% was great.
Mm.
Was really, really great. And we got like the superstar, what you call them though? I've forgotten what they're called. We received quite a number of them in our first year. But the things that are making my life happy every day when it comes to this business is having to turn daughters and sons from care managers and making them back into daughters and sons, having to get
Mm-hmm.
people to relax and trust that their loved ones are fine and then they can go and have a life of their own. I
Mm-hmm.
come from a background where my parents and my family, everybody took care of me when I was in my wheelchair, when I was in my bed for 3 years, and they lost their lives completely. So I saw the freedom when I could walk again. I saw them trying to catch up back with life. But now I'm seeing that I'm able to do that in people's life on a daily basis. And those small text messages that come, those who do not want to go and leave a Google review but want to just send it to me, that makes me sleep well at night most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So those little wins are a lot bigger than surpassing our projections. However, when you add that, it's just cherry on the icing and probably even a little cherry on top of it. So these little things are the things that make me happy. And then my team also, I see them struggle, and then I'm seeing some of them now beginning to understand where we're going. The light
Mm-hmm.
bulbs you see in their faces when they realize something that I'm trying to show them also just makes me just want to keep on spurring everybody on to good work. So it's little things, but I would say the main marker is the fact that okay, the business is at where it should be and it can get better.
I love that. And kudos to you for your leadership as well, for your team to recognize that and their strengths as well to all be on the same page. So it's been a pleasure, Katoon. What wonderful tips, suggestions, ideas that you've given throughout this presentation. And, thank you really from the bottom of our heart at Right at Home for all you do to improve the quality of life for those that you serve and the families and the clients and the staff. And we really are honored to have you as part of the Right at Home family.
I want to say thank you very much also for thinking that we were worthy to carry this on our shoulders and for continuing to trust us, continuing to educate us, and continuing to understand that we make mistakes and continue to being patient with us. It
Mm,
is beautiful to see that it is a family setup. I've been to both home improvements, and I will never miss anyone because of how I connect with people when I go there and exchange ideas. It's just a great place to be. Thank you so, so much.
absolutely. All right. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye
Yeah.
bye.